All right, this is what India possibly was expecting, because China once again has been the only shield for its all-weather ally Pakistan. China once again has shielded Azhar Masood, being banned, being marked as a global terrorist by United Nations, which could have in fact got him in a lot of trouble. China's saving the embarrassment for Pakistan yet again. The only country, ladies and gentlemen, which has once again for the fourth time shielded Masood Azhar using its veto power.
Fourth time in a row, India's attempt to have the United Nations Security Council ban Masood Azhar has been sabotaged by China. Pakistan's all-weather friend has once again put a technical hold on the attempt to designate Azhar a global terrorist. While India this time has secured the backing of several powerful countries, including the United States, United Kingdom and France, China's 11th hour veto has ensured that Azhar remains a free man.
All right, let me now go across to Gaurav Sawant, who is joining us on the broadcast here in the studio. Gaurav, you tracked it till late last night. This is exactly possibly what most of the analysts were expecting. China once again only shielding its all-weather ally Pakistan.
You know, Ankit, it is extremely disappointing for India, but you're absolutely right. No surprises here. Since 2016, ever since the Pathankot terror attacks, India has repeatedly tried, and not just India. Look at the bright side of the story early in the morning, Ankit, if I may. You have 11 countries supporting India, co-sponsoring this move. You have 14 countries at the United Nations Security Council. Of the P5, only China stands out. Everybody else is with India, and China stands with a terrorist state, Pakistan, and worse, with a terrorist state that's standing by Maulana Masood Azhar, the Maulana of terror, who's responsible for a series of terror attacks in India, within Pakistan, and a terrorist group, Ankit, that has operated even in Afghanistan. Remember, it's the same Maulana Masood Azhar, it's the same Jaish Ankit, that had targeted Pervez Musharraf, who was then the all-powerful president, dictator of Pakistan, and yet nothing was done against Masood Azhar or Jaish Mohammed.
Let me also introduce at this point of time Colonel Rohit Dev, defense and security expert, who is joining us on the broadcast as well. Colonel Dev, as Gaurav and me were discussing, no surprises there, but the fact remains that China has absolutely no problem standing against all the member nations, against every country, and standing with the terrorists. It was a time for Chinese to show that they are against world terror. They have failed yet again.
Ankit, let me begin by telling that China is not shielding any terrorist per se by any other motivation, but only to foster its own interest. It will brazen out everybody, including the Security Council. It has got veto powers. And when you come to the table with such powers, the magnitude and the effect which you can create for yourself is huge. And that is one of the reasons why China has always been averse to India getting that seat, while logically we are the second largest democracy and the fourth largest army in the world also, and a very responsible state. Notwithstanding, China's interest also with terrorist groups is primarily because the CPEC, the BRI, the Karachi port, Gwadar port, everything is going through there. The interests in Afghanistan have to be looked after.
Yes.
And for a springer, China had initially, had supported some terrorist groups, even in so-called Baloch, which they call terrorists.
Right.
And then just to give a nudge to Pakistan. So it's just a baby state of Pakistan, which has been consumed by economic power currently. And economic interest will not be heard of China as long as any decision has to be made, even against the world councils.
But after this breaking news, I'm going to come to that. People keep talking about the economic cooperation between Pakistan and China. India's trade, the business and the trade between India and China is $60 billion a year. It is 2 times over what China is expected to get from CPEC. So we'll try and delve more on, this entire economic theory that people put out, because it is more than that. It is China possibly in fear of India's growing stature in Southeast Asia and, of course, the world. We'll discuss more about breaking news, which is coming in at this point of time. India today has access to the United Nations Security Council. In fact, members officially informing them about the Chinese move. This is the latest that is coming in at this point of time. Let me go across to Geeta Mohan, my colleague, who is joining me with all these details. This is the note on China shielding Masood Azhar. Let me bring in Geeta, our foreign affairs editor, at this point of time. Geeta, very good morning. Once again, on expected lines, what have the Chinese said this time? What is their excuse?
Well, what we have accessed over here and what we see on our screens, Ankit, is the document that has been issued by the Security Council to all the members. Now, remember, the 1267 committee works in a very secretive manner, and only members are informed of the proceedings and the reasons, as also information with regards to what really happened. And in this, while everybody and most of the statements that came yesterday spoke of a country that put a hold on the proposal, over here it very clearly mentions that it was China that held that proposal back and exercised its veto. So very clearly over here we can see China holding the proposal of banning Masood Azhar, and strong statements coming in from every quarter. We are also given to understand, Ankit, that it was not 11 as was reported earlier, as we reported earlier, that 11 countries co-sponsored it, which is in itself unprecedented and historic. We are given to understand that more than a dozen, by the end of the deadline, more than a dozen countries had co-sponsored this move. So a very strong move wherein the international community, for the first time, with a lot of members of the Security Council and 4 or 5 others from outside of the Security Council, had come and co-sponsored that move.
Geeta, stay on with me. Let me also bring in Ashok Sajjanar, former diplomat, who is joining us on the broadcast. We are also being joined by Shrikant Kundapalli, expert who's on Chinese affairs, who is also with us this morning. Let me first get you, Mr. Sajjanar, on this, your first reaction. And I also want to understand from you, China brazens it out. It doesn't matter for the Chinese, who says what, where does the world stand, and how do they view China's move once again to veto for the 4th time when it comes to ban on Masood Azhar. What are India's options going forward from here, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ankit. I agree, with what Gaurav had said. It is extremely disappointing. I think there were some shoots of hope that China might change its position this time and might agree to align itself with the international move and the international mood on terror. Because I think it is, in my view, it is shooting itself in the foot. Because it also faces terrorist issues and instability in its own western region, in Xinjiang region. And I think there has been a furor as far as the international community is concerned regarding the manner in which it is treating its own Muslim community there. But as you have said, China has decided to brazen it out. It is out and out a political move to shield Pakistan, political move to support Pakistan, to keep supporting the Pakistan army and its intelligence agencies. Of course, they have a commitment from them that these terrorist forces operating out of Pakistan will be kept on a leash so that they don't start creating problem either for China in the Xinjiang region or as far as the CPEC is concerned. So it's a political move, but it is couching it in technical terms that we do not have enough information. Of course, we have been trying to furnish China, as also other members of the Security Council, with information. And I think your channel itself had reported yesterday that this time, possibly for the first time, we have given all audio tapes and all the other evidence that was incontrovertible evidence that had been given to China. But obviously they have, while some of our analysts were hoping that they might change their view, but they have not changed their view. So I think we need to reassess, what is the extent to which the Wuhan spirit goes. Because the Chinese ambassador here says relations with India are the best ever. They are definitely not the best ever if China is not willing to realize and to take note of the security concerns, the deep security concerns and the huge sensitivities of India as far as terror emanating from Pakistan is concerned, then I think the cracks in the Wuhan spirit are very clearly showing.
Okay. Let me also very quickly, at this point of time, get in Professor Srikant Kondapalli, who is a professor in Chinese studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. So good morning and welcome. What I want to understand from you, what leverage does India have? Why is it that the Chinese have absolutely no regard when it comes to India's position on terror, specifically terror emanating from Pakistan?
Well, I think as the previous speakers have mentioned, there is the all-weather friendship that China has with Pakistan. And in the joint statements between India and China, while all forms of terrorism were opposed, China has not been very specific in terms of cross-border terrorism. On the other hand, India had agreed to what the Chinese conception of three evils, opposing three evils, since the November 2006 agreement between President Hu Jintao and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. They have mentioned about the opposition to three evils. But the Chinese have not been able to accede to Indian demand for countering the cross-border terrorism issues. Number one. Number two, in the Xiamen meeting of the BRICS in September 27, as well as in the Wuhan meeting in April last year, as well as in the Russia, India, China trilateral meeting recently, there has been a mention about the condemnation of terrorism in all forms. Yet we have not seen much progress in this regard in terms of the Pulwama attack as well as the subsequent events. While India and China have counter-terrorism cooperation, this remains basically cosmetic in nature. For example, the Indian Army and the Chinese Army conduct the hand-in-hand joint operations, but the Chinese are reluctant to conduct the counter-terrorism operation in Rajasthan or in Gujarat or in Punjab, where basically it would mean countering cross-border terrorism. Secondly, recently, about a few months ago, the Public Security Minister of China visited India and met with Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Home Minister, to pursue intelligence sharing and countering terrorism. So we see nothing substantial has come out of it, although it is a useful gesture in terms of understanding the Chinese position on that issue. When it comes to the brass tacks, we have not seen much cooperation in this regard.
Okay.
So which basically then means that we have to have some concrete options in countering this aspect.
So stay on with me. There is breaking news coming in on this story. In fact, hours after China moved to blocking the move to ban Masood Azhar at United Nations, strong sentiment is now coming in from United States. Remember, United States, even before Chinese went in for this shield to shield Masood Azhar, had yesterday in a very strong worded comment from the United States Foreign Office had said that China should stand with the world when it comes to terror. Now, United States, after Chinese move, has said that China move to hold the listing is inconsistent with its own stand and stated goals of combating terrorism and further regional stability in South Asia. If China is serious about these goals, it should not protect terrorists from Pakistan or any other country from being held accountable to the Council. If China continues to block this designation, responsible member states may be forced to pursue other actions at the Security Council. It shouldn't have to come to that. Geeta Mohan with us on this. Geeta, what other actions is the United States talking about? Very strongly worded response to after China's move to once again veto the ban on Azhar Masood.
Well, that's right, Ankit. If you see the last part of that entire statement, that's the operative part. America is warning Beijing, and with none other but a strong action, and saying that member states will have to be and would be forced to take action against Pakistan or those terror networks that are active and are operating within Pakistan if China continues to shield those Pakistan-based terror groups. It's a strong statement coming at a time that when India had on its own taken action against the Jaish camps in Pakistan, and we are not talking about POK over here, Ankit. India made that huge security change in their security doctrine by going into Pakistani territory and taking out Pakistan-based terror camps. And this time around, we've seen a lot of strong statements come from all quarters. India also put out a statement yesterday expressing disappointment, but no statement was as strong as the one coming from a US diplomat who's serving in the Security Council, warning of action against those terror groups, and which only means that the US and the Indian government are looking at action against Pakistan-based terror groups if China continues to shield these terror groups and continues to shield Pakistan.
Gaurav, a quick comment from you on this. The fact remains that though China has been exposed, and this is not the first time that they have been exposed on the global platform when it comes to China's strategy on terror, very different from what they practice in their own country and very different when they go on the global platform. The fact remains we may keep putting pressure on Pakistan. The real problem is China, the big daddy of Pakistan.
Absolutely. China, the way it's treating its own Muslims, Uyghur Muslims in China, more than 1 million are in a concentration camp. Pakistan is saying nothing. China is also scared that in case China orders actions against terrorists like Maulana Masood Azhar, then the Jaish-e-Mohammed, which has targeted Pakistani presidents in the past and Pakistani state in the past, could well either target China in the Xinjiang province or attack Chinese interests in Pakistan. So that is China's big fear. But the United States, this big story that Geeta Mohan's breaking just now, and the story that Geeta Mohan broke last night, one thing is extremely clear. It's for India to forget about the United Nations, because the United Nations in its current form, Ankit, has actually outlived its utility. What's the point of a UN where China has a veto power, which is unaccountable, that China doesn't need to explain its stance? India has officially expressed its disappointment with the United Nations. Syed Akbaruddin, our ambassador, our permanent representative to the UN, has done that in the past. UN does not reflect the realities of the 21st century world.
Yes.
So the way India took out terrorists in Balakot, it's time for India from this point on. Masood Azhar, Hafiz Saeed and other terrorists in Pakistan are now on borrowed time, and that should be India's big initiative, that if there is an opportunity, neutralize the threat.
While we have, as Gaurav said, the action will have to be our own. The initiative will have to be our own. We can't rely on United Nations, US or any other country like Chinese, like any other global power. We have to act in our own national interest. That should be of the paramount importance for the Indian dispensation. Very quickly, before I go to my guest once again, let's just take you through of what has happened exactly. Even as the global pressure mounts on Pakistan to act against Masood Azhar, the Jaish chief continues to operate freely in Pakistan. Masood has released a fresh audio tape, almost a dare to India, saying banning any outfit won't stop jihad in Kashmir. He also hails Pulwama suicide bomber Adil Ahmad Dar. Masood Azhar claimed he is not ill and is doing fine, absolutely ridiculing the foreign minister of Pakistan, who said that Masood Azhar Sahab is extremely ill to the effect that he can't even move out of his house. This is the Maulana of terror speaking himself.
चंद मशहूर अफराद को मार देने या चंद तंजीमों का गला दबा देने से ये आग रुकेगी नहीं। तहरीक जब जड़ पकड़ ले तो वो खुद अपनी खिदमत के लिए अफराद उठाती है, तंजीमें बनाती है। अफ़गान जिहाद पहले खड़ा हुआ, तंजीमें बाद में बनी। तहरीक कश्मीर पहले उठी, तंजीमें बाद में बनी। अहले मोहब्बत से गुजारिश, इस वक्त दुआ और तवज्जो इल्लाह की सख्त ज़रूरत है, अपने लिए भी और उम्मत मुस्लिमा के लिए भी। एक तरफ कश्मीर की मुबारक तहरीक है, ایک کشمیری نوجوان عادل احمد ڈار شہید نے بڑی قربانی دے کر مسئلہ کشمیر کو بہت آگے تک پہنچا دیا ہے. بس اب تو تھوڑی سی مزید محنت درکار ہے، مگر برا ہو بزدلی اور دنیا پرستی کا اب جہاد کشمیر کے خلاف سازشیں عروج پر ہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ سے امید ہے کہ شہدائے کرام کی قربانی رنگ لائے گی. یہاں ایک بات یہ بتانا ضروری ہے کہ کشمیر کی تحریک اگر کشمیر میں نہ چلی تو یہ ارد گرد پھیل جائے گی. یہ فطرت کا اصول ہے، دھمکی نہیں. بر صغیر کے امن اور ترقی کے لیے اگر کوئی مخلص ہے تو اسے پہلے مسئلہ کشمیر حل کرنا ہوگا، ورنہ یہ آگ پھیلے گی اور اسے پھیلنے سے کوئی نہیں روک سکے گا. مجھ ناچیز غریب کے بارے میں تواتر سے خبریں آ رہی ہیں کہ میں سخت بیمار ہوں. کوئی گردے کا مرض بتا رہا ہے تو کوئی جگر کا. ممکن ہے دنیا بھر میں 2-4 افراد جو مجھ سے اللہ تعالیٰ کے لیے محبت رکھتے ہوں ان خبروں سے پریشان ہوں. اس لیے عرض کرتا ہوں کہ الحمدللہ ثم الحمدللہ میں خیریت سے ہوں. گردے بھی ٹھیک ہیں اور جگر بھی. باقی جہاں تک دل کا تعلق ہے تو الحمدللہ وہ بھی طبی لحاظ سے ٹھیک ہے.
His kidney and heart may be fine as he claims, but it's time for India to put its heart and brain behind this Maulana of terror.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.